Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session, we are going to consider the first quarter earnings report for the Boeing company, which is experiencing turbulence in the recent past. It has faced several challenges, which is making it difficult for the Boeing to continue to fly in a smoother fashion. And we are going to see what are the kind of challenges which are being faced by it, and what is the timeline in which it expects the things to get clear and start to fly high. This is the first quarter's earnings statement. We will consider the consolidated statement of operations. Afterwards, we will also see the balance sheet and the cash flow statement to make the assessment of the cash flows for the company. The earnings have been not growing. If we take a look on the total revenues, the revenues are actually lower for the quarter ending March 31st, 2024 in comparison to the same quarter a year back. There is decline in the revenue, and this is attributable mainly to the lower sale and increasing inventory of its commercial aircrafts. There has been challenges with 737 series, and that is impacting the delivery schedule. Also, there have been incidents in the air, like the recent incident of Alaska Air, which is also making the factor involving these continued operation bit difficult. The regulators are also looking in and trying to see what are the kind of security related issues which is causing this kind of recurring incidents, because there have been many accidents involving the Max series aircrafts, the 737 series, and that is impacting the confidence of the customers, which are airline companies across the world, and that is impacting the revenue, which are lower for the quarter. The bottom line is also seeing negative impact. There is net loss of 355 million, which is slightly better in comparison to the loss of 425 million suffered a year back. So the challenges are not of today's making. The company has been facing these headwinds for a while now. The only thing is that some hope can be pinned on the factor that maybe after a couple of quarters, if it is able to get its operational difficulties to overcome, maybe we will see some light at the end of the tunnel, and it will turn the going profitable again. But that is likely to take time, and we are not really seeing immediate resolution of the multiple issues, which is making it turbulent times for the Boeing to fly. Now, if we consider its cash flow statement, the cash outflow on account of operations is damn too high this time around, and one single item which is making all the impact is these inventories, and this is the pile up of its aircraft which have been delayed due to the disruption in the deliveries. So there is huge pile up of the inventory, and that is why there is this high, almost US dollar 3.4 billion worth of cash outflow. Otherwise, if we consider other items, these are low impact items. Only this inventory item is causing this much damage to the cash positions of the company. On account of investment activity, there was cash inflow of US dollar 2.07 billion, which is a turnaround if we consider the last time when it had cash outflow of US dollar 1.8 billion. And here the defining change is the contributions to the investment. Last time around, there was contributions to the investment of more than US dollar 3.5 billion. Now, this time around, there is proceeds from the investment, and that is making this cash positive for the company. For the financing activity, there was cash outflow of US dollar 4.4 billion, and this is for the debt repayment. The debt repayment took away US dollar 4.44 billion, and in a way, that is also good for the company because it lowers the repayment obligations and reduces the interest payments in course of time. But this has been adversely impacting the cash position of the company. The cash and cash equivalents at the end of the period were down to just little below US dollar 7 billion from the cash pile of nearly US dollar 11 billion a year back. So this time around, there is this big impact on the cash position of the company as well. But still, with this cash pile of US dollar 7 billion, I think the company is still in a good shape to run its operations smoothly, and it can mitigate any circumstantial requirement for immediate cash because it has sufficient cash at hand to meet any emergencies, contingency, and other operational requirements. Now we turn our gaze to the technical side of the story. This is the Boeing company's chart with each candle period defined at daily. So if you are looking at a medium-term outlook, you can consider this timeline. But first, we consider the lower timeline charting. In the last few weeks, we have seen some bullish momentum from the lower levels close to US dollar 170. From that, there has been upward momentum, the formation of high highs and higher lows. And right now, in the last session, the Boeing ended at US dollar 190, which is increase of around 10 percentage point from its recent low. But I still feel that we are not in a phase where it is likely to sustain its bullish momentum. Maybe we can look at it more from the perspective of retracement. You can also say it like that can bounce, though this bounce has a lot of legs, it has continued to run, but still it will be interesting to see how long it lasts. And the immediate marker is going to be this immediate swing. As long as Boeing holds and maintains above 170, I still feel we have to go with the flow, and in the short run, that is the beneficial thing to do. So, if there is correction and if it is able to hold anywhere close to 180, 170 mark, above 170, and anywhere close to 180 is going to be a good deal. And if it goes to 180, maybe holds for a couple of sessions, and then if you see there is some spark and it tries to rise again, in that eventuality, you can even start looking for some trading opportunity to go long in the short run. But for the timeline, I think for next few sessions, we will have to simply sit on the time sidelines and wait for more clarity to emerge. And as I said, the price level is going to be key. It should not really dip too much. It should hold anywhere close to 180 or above that. If it doesn't decline much and holds close to the recent swing high, then that would be a better development for us to take advantage of this recent run on the higher side. Now, from the medium timeline perspective, if you are looking to keep the position open maybe for a couple of weeks, then in that scenario, I think adopting this time frame is going to help you trade better. If we consider this decline after the peak touched in the December, it has been a one-way ride to the south, and only in the recent last few weeks, there has been some buying momentum, buying support closer to the 160, 170 mark. But still, we are in a scenario of bears having the upper hand, and in this bearish environment, it is better to also be cautious and not really go into the long trade from the medium term perspective. Maybe if we see a fresh swing high anywhere close to 200, that will give us much more hope. But in the next decline, in the next retracement, we will need the going to hold anywhere close to or above this immediate swing low of 170, and only in that case we can feel confident about the possibility of going changing its course and starting to rise again. In the long term, there has been big swings in the Boeing in the last few quarters, last few months, because the developments have been such that it has sent the stock flying in both the directions. Sometimes it is rising sharply, other times it is declining equally sharply, depending on the news impacting the company at that time. In these turbulent times, the company share price has also been turbulent. We have seen this new swing low below this immediate swing low. So we have the formation of lower low, but we still can't say lower high, because this time around we will need the high to be lower than prior swing high on 267, and only then we will have a firm picture of scenario of lower low and lower high, and we can adopt a fail on rally approach. Now it is simply the consolidation phase. There is not much of directional firmness in the stock price of the Boeing, so that makes us a bit wary of taking conviction, any position with strong conviction. I would say that given these strong moves on both the sides, depending on the news flow impacting the company at the time, we well served if we adopt a cautious stance, maybe allow the Boeing to rise to at least some extent from the current levels. And if it holds anywhere close to 220, 240 mark and doesn't really rise too much after a couple of weeks of consolidation, maybe you can think about shorting it again with the whole profit dipping below 160 towards 140, 120 in course of time. So that possibility is there with this bearishness still having a strong grip on the Boeing stock. So that is my assessment for three different timelines. We considered the short term, the medium term, and the long run. In each of these three different timelines, the trajectory looks a bit different, and you will have to take the decision depending on the timeline you are trading on, depending on the time horizon you have. And I think this is the best approach to go with in these turbulent times for the Boeing, as it is experiencing turbulence. We are also likely to see increased volatility, and along with the increased volatility, there will be, of course, many chances, many opportunities for us to exploit these increased volatility for our benefit, for our advantage. So that's all from my side for today's session of the daily stock, in which we consider the quarterly earnings for the Boeing company. And now it's time for me to sign off for the day. I will be back again in the next session with the equally interesting company to look at. See you next time around. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day ahead. Goodbye.